What's up, guys? Mike Olson here with my partner, as always, Justin Moody. We are the Moody Olson team, and this is our channel, Moving to Las Vegas. Have you ever wanted to find the best steak in Las Vegas off Strip? Honestly, I can't really speak for a lot of the places on the Strip because I'm a Vegas local and I don't go to the Strip. So today we are going to bring you our picks for the best off-strip steakhouses in Las Vegas. Now, we're going to caveat that off-strip. A couple of these places are on Fremont Street.
And one of mine is South Las Vegas Boulevard.
It is South Las Vegas Boulevard, but none of these are going to be on the Las Vegas Strip proper. I will say these are our personal picks. So Justin and I each brought 3 of our personal favorite steakhouses to the table. And I'll be honest with you, the 3 I brought, pretty much the only 3 steakhouses I go to.
Yeah, you know, if I'm going to spend a little bit of money, these are the 3 I go to as well.
Like I said, this is just our opinion. We would love for you to share your opinion in the comments down below. If you agree with us, disagree with us, or if you have another steakhouse that we should have considered, or one that we should go out to when we have the opportunity, make sure you put a comment down below. And with that being said, let's get right into it.
So I'm going to talk about my first pick. It's a really solid steakhouse at the M Hotel and Casino in Henderson. And I'm talking about Anthony's Prime Steak and Seafood. I'm not a seafood lover. I know you enjoy seafood, so you might enjoy that as well.
I am a big seafood guy.
Yeah, not a big fan. But what I can tell you is that this restaurant is just a fantastic steakhouse. It's not super glamorous. You know, the ambiance is nice, but it's not over the top. And it is in a casino. So you keep that in mind. But the M is very much a southern casino, you know, South Las Vegas. And, you know, every time I go in there, it reminds me that it's a smoking casino, but you'd never know it. Just the way they filter the air in there, you would never know that you're sitting next to a smoker.
You know, I've only been to the M one time, and that was to go hang out with some friends by the pool one day. They had
we went for a conference too.
Oh, we did go there for a conference, but man, we didn't stick around for long.
No. So anyway, I want to talk about the steakhouse. Again, it's Anthony's Prime Rib. I like to start off, they have a great wedge salad.
All right.
Oh my God, this wedge salad is amazing. And they also have a really good meatball dish.
Okay.
And so those are usually my starters, a salad and a meatball dish, and share with the table. There are only 3 meatballs, but they're good side.
All right.
And I think they actually get most of the meatballs from, there's a small Italian kitchen right next to Anthony's, and they bring them over there. So they're really outstanding. They're almost a meal in themselves. If you're not sharing them with people at the table, you might not have enough room when your amazing steak comes out.
You know, that is one of the things I always take into consideration when I go to a steakhouse is, do I want to try the appetizer and risk taking up valuable steak room?
Exactly. Or even like the bread service, because a lot of these steakhouses have amazing bread service.
They do.
So you really do want to take that into account. Also, this is not a cheap place. I don't think any of the places that we're going to be talking about are going to be considered that affordable category.
No, nothing. This is not a affordable list.
Yeah, this is not the best steakhouses under $100.
No, this is date night, guys.
Yeah.
This is celebration.
Yes.
This is a special occasion. I know that all 3 of the places that I'm bringing to the table for this discussion, I never get out of any of these places. When I take Stasha there and we go out for a date night, I'm never out less than $200.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what, you know, if it's a party of 2, depending on if you get cocktails or not, dessert, you can get out of there for $200, but if you're ordering cocktails and dessert, then you're pushing that $250 range plus tip.
Yeah, and you should be tipping, guys. These places are quality service. You need to be taking care of your servers.
I've never had a bad meal at Anthony's. I've never had bad service at Anthony's. I'm a big ribeye guy. I don't like to pay for bone, so I always get the boneless ribeye.
Yeah, I usually get a boneless ribeye as well.
I don't like to pay for the bone. And I'll tell you, these ribeyes are tender, they're juicy, they're not over-seasoned, they're not under-seasoned, they're done just right. They're on a char broiler. The sides are amazing. I really love their twice-baked potato. It is just a solid option. I try not to overdo it on the sides because, again, I want some of those meatballs and I want some bread service. But the twice-baked potato, I'm a big fan. It's excellent. The service is really top-notch. And it's just a really nice, classy, but comfortable environment. When you go into Anthony's, you know that you're going into an upper scale eatery, but you don't feel it. It's very relaxing. People aren't overdressed. If you get the right table, you get a great view of the pool and the north up towards the strip. So if you're sitting there in the evening, you can have fantastic views while you're enjoying your meal. I really recommend Anthony's Prime Steak and Seafood. Again, not a seafood fan, so I can't talk about the seafood, but I can talk about how amazing the steaks are. Like I said, if it's you and a partner, and depending on what you order, you're going to be spending $250 easily. Where are we going next, dude?
So I'm actually gonna cheat on this one, and I'm gonna get a 2-for-1 special. My next pick is a true Las Vegas locals paradise, and it is Herbs and Rye and Cleaver. And the reason that this is a 2-for-1 special is these two restaurants are owned by the same owner. They have the same executive chef. Their menus are virtually identical. They have the exact same ambiance inside. So really, you can go to one, you can go to the other. Your experience is going to be pretty much the same across the board. Herbs and Rye and Cleaver are absolutely amongst my favorite restaurants in Las Vegas. And if I was big ballin' like that, that's the kind of place I would go eat once a week if I could afford it.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They are absolutely fantastic, guys. And let me just tell you a couple of the reasons why. Starting with their happy hour. And if you don't know about the happy hour that they have at Herbs and Rye and Cleaver, it's one of the best deals in town. Still not going to be cheap.
No.
But every day, except for, I believe, Saturdays, and they're closed on Sundays. Every day, except for Saturdays, they have a happy hour from 5 to 8. And what that happy hour consists of is discount prices on drinks and half price on all steaks.
Oh.
All the steaks are 50% off right off the top during happy hour. 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock, Monday through Friday. Now, they also have a couple of half-price appetizers. I think there's a couple of half-price entrees on the pasta menu. Well, we're not here for pasta, guys. We're here to talk about steaks.
Wasted calories on steak night.
Absolutely. So, that's the first great thing about these places. Typically, when we go, Stosh and I try to get a reservation for somewhere between 5 and 6. We usually like to go sit at the bar. The bartenders at these places, very, very well trained. They're always super personable. We always have a great time conversing with them. We've actually become friends with some of the bartenders there. So, highly recommend that you sit at the bar if you're the social type. Obviously, if you want some privacy, if it's a date night, if you're trying to get some alone time with your significant other, they have great table areas that you can sit in and have more private experience. And their drink menu is the next thing that I'd like to highlight, because the drink menu is organized by eras. It's the only place I've ever seen this.
Okay.
So you'll have drinks from the Roaring 20s. You'll have drinks from the Prohibition era.
Okay.
You'll have drinks from the Rat Pack era. You'll have drinks from the Tiki Revival era. And the drink menu is extensive. And each one of these eras has 4 or 5 custom designed cocktails made to match the era that that drink is listed under.
Nice.
A lot of these are original recipes from back in the day. Drinks that you won't find anywhere else. Anywhere. Some of the drinks that you find at these places, I've never seen before in another establishment. And I like to drink a cocktail or two, so that's pretty surprising.
Nothing wrong with that?
Right, no, absolutely. So you have 50% off steaks from 5 to 8. You have one of the most unique cocktail menus in the entire city. Again, this is a true local spot, guys. You're not gonna find hardly any tourists in these restaurants, unless they're the kind of tourists who go on Yelp and they go out of their way to find the locals places.
Or they watch YouTube and they see this video.
Or they watch YouTube and they see one of these videos, just like this one. But for the most part, these places are gonna be filled with your locals, right? And
except for maybe Cleaver. Based on its location on Paradise, you might see some conventioneers there.
Maybe a few.
But definitely Herbs and Rye, far enough away from the strip where you're going to definitely see hardcore locals.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell you guys a little bit about the things that I like to get when I go there. We always start off with the spicy mussels. I know Justin's not a seafood guy.
No.
Stasha and I love seafood. They have a spicy mussel dish that is to die for. It's actually one of my favorite things that they serve there at the restaurant.
Well, I mean, I got spicy mussels, but I don't like to eat them.
Indeed. They come with, spicy mussels comes with an entire loaf of sourdough bread. You gotta be careful on that sourdough bread. You can take up that valuable steak room.
Yes.
But start off with the spicy mussels, get some of that sourdough bread. Just use that bread to sop up some of that amazing spicy sauce that those mussels are soaking in. After that, personally, I like to go with the flat iron steak, simply as Honestly, in an effort to kind of keep the bill down a little bit.
I got you.
They do have a fantastic ribeye, and if you want to spend ribeye money, you absolutely can. And I have been known to, if I'm feeling, if I'm feeling extra spunky, I might get that ribeye. But when I'm trying to keep the bill in check, relatively speaking, I get that flat iron steak with the chimichurri sauce add-on. It's absolutely one of my favorite things to eat in the entire city. And as a side, we always get the mushroom risotto, which is absolutely to die for. Insider tip here, you can't get the mushroom risotto at Herbs and Rye. You have to go to Cleaver to get the mushroom risotto. So even though Herbs and Rye is actually closer to where we live, we drive past Herbs and Rye and go to Cleaver. That's how much we love the mushroom risotto.
And I believe that because you've told me in the past that you would go to Cleaver just to get that mushroom risotto.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely, we would. So, my first pick, best steakhouse in Las Vegas. I'm gonna go with Cleaver / Herbs and Rye for all the reasons I've already mentioned. Try it, guys. I promise you won't be disappointed. Quick tip though, if you go to make reservations, don't make the mistake that we made one time. We tried to make reservations on Open Table, and what we found out was that there is a restaurant called Cleaver in, I think it's Ohio.
And you didn't make your reservation?
We did not make our reservation. Because Herbs and Rye and Cleaver here in Las Vegas are not actually on Open Table. They're not on any of those other sites. If you want to make a reservation, you have to go to their website, Herbs and Rye or Cleaver's website. You make a reservation on their website, or you pick up the phone and call them. You can make a reservation on the phone. Totally worth it. Absolutely one of my favorite date night spots in all of Las Vegas, and Stasha would agree with me wholeheartedly.
Oh, nice. All right. I have not. I've been to Herbs and Rye years ago, but I've never been to Cleaver, so maybe I'll check it out soon. So my next pick, if you've watched any of our other videos and we talk about places in Vegas, restaurants, things like that, you know that I love Vegas history.
Yep.
I love that old school Vegas ambiance. And nothing screams Vegas more than the Golden Steer.
So good.
Oh man, this place, when you walk into the Golden Steer, you feel like you could see the Rat Pack sitting off in one of these high-backed red leather booths.
Yeah.
It just has that feel. The waiters and waitresses, they walk around in their tuxedos and their bow ties. Most of the service is done tableside. It just has that old school feel. When I go out to eat, I don't, usually spend a lot of time at the bar. I'm more like Stasha, and I'd rather not sit at the bar. I'd rather sit at a booth or a table. But when you walk in, you pass this really nice bar. Now, here's the thing with Golden Steer. If you try to make a reservation, you're going to be waiting a while. It is very difficult to get a reservation. I think the last time I tried to do it, there was a 90-day wait. Here's an Insider Pro Locals tip. Just go when they open. They'll find you a seat. Or go near closing time. They'll find you a seat, no reservation required, most of the time. They may be booked that day, but the several times that I've gone, I just went right when they opened. I think it was at 5 or 6, or I would go later in the evening around 9 o'clock. And I was able to get seated relatively quickly. But if you're planning out in the future, you can make your reservation, but you're looking at probably a 90-day wait because this place is that popular. It has that vibe.
It's also small.
It is, but they are expanding it. They did buy the adjoining building, and so they are building another dining room. So that's going to be great. Who knows when that'll get done, but that's going to be great. But a lot of the food is tableside. They're really famous for their tableside Caesar salad,
right?
And their tableside desserts. The baked Alaska is amazing. I'm not a huge baked Alaska guy, but I tried it just because they do it at the table, and I loved it. And their French onion soup, that's almost kind of like your mushroom risotto.
Yeah. I love French onion soup.
They don't mess around with the cheese on the French onion soup.
Yeah.
It is a good 1.5 inch layer on top of that.
Excellent.
And when they bring it out to you, that looks like a volcano. Just that cheese is popping. And then the soup itself, I don't like a really, really oniony French onion soup. So the flavor is a little bit more mild than maybe some people like, but I love it. I could almost just eat that. If the steaks weren't so great, I could almost eat that. They have
I feel like we should have eaten before we filmed this video.
It's actually rare. I actually had lunch before I came over here, so I'm good right now, but I am glad that I took a steak out of the freezer that I'm going to cook up at home tonight. I'm going to enjoy that. It's not going to be
It's not going to be
steakhouse quality,
right?
But it's going to be good nonetheless. So their French onion soup is just a great way to start. And then I love, they have a 28-ounce porterhouse steak. Normally I don't get something with bone. But when they say 28 ounces, I really feel like they're not including the bone weight, because it is a thick and hefty porterhouse steak. You get plenty of the filet side, so you're gonna get that juicy tenderness. It is just an awesome steak, and they know how to make a medium rare steak. You know, a lot of steakhouses, you ask for medium rare, it's either gonna be more medium or more rare or more medium. And when you tell them I want medium rare, they bring it out with just the right amount of red and pink.
Nice.
I love it. The service is a little slow because this place is packed. But the waiters and the wait staff are just on top of everything. The way they treat you, the way they talk to you, you really feel like you're back in the 60s, getting service that you would get in the 60s. Unfortunately, you're not paying 60s prices.
That would be nice.
You're not going to get out of Golden Steer for under $200.
So, you know, I heard something about the Golden Steer. This is something I read when I was doing some research for this video. And I don't know that this hasn't been verified, so I don't know that this is true. But what I heard was that back in the 60s, because the Golden Steer is that old, that Sammy Davis Jr. used to go to the Golden Steer with his entourage to eat dinner after the show, because due to the unfortunate racism of the day, a lot of the casinos wouldn't let him eat in the casino restaurants. So he would go to the Golden Steer where he was welcome.
Well, it's definitely the oldest steakhouse left in Vegas. And when you go there, you will see little placards on the wall saying, you know, this was Sammy Davis Jr.'s or the Rat Pack's favorite table, or so-and-so sat here, or so-and-so sat here. So they really do bring up that nostalgia. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me that something like that happened, or, you know, that Sammy Davis Jr. went there, because, again, guys, this place is amazing.
Just a cool piece of Vegas.
It's just a great piece of Vegas. It is almost on the Strip. It's on Sahara, about a quarter of a mile west of the. It's about a quarter of a mile west of the Strip, not too far from the Stratosphere, but it's far enough off the Strip where you will see locals. And because the quality and nostalgia is so high there, you're going to find a lot of locals. But if you happen to be visiting, or you have friends and family visiting and they're staying on the Strip, and you want to meet up with them and have a great steak experience, the Golden Steer would be top of my list.
Nice.
Where are we heading to next, man?
So we're gonna stick with some classic old school Vegas here. We're gonna head up to Fremont Street to the Plaza Hotel and Oscar's Steakhouse.
The former mayor.
The former mayor, the former mob attorney.
Yeah.
Oscar's is absolutely a fantastic steakhouse. First and foremost, the first thing you're gonna notice when you go there is just the ambiance.
Yes.
Oscar's is in a giant glass dome on the second floor of the plaza, overlooking the Fremont Street experience.
Yeah, it's a great aesthetically pleasing view from outside and inside.
It is just a wonderful place to enjoy a meal. The ambiance in there is absolutely top notch. And I'll say this, the next thing that you're gonna notice about Oscar's is the quality of the service.
Yes.
The wait staff at Oscar's is among the best trained wait staffs that I've ever seen.
Yes.
And I've been there multiple times, mostly because when my mom comes to Vegas, she always stays at the Plaza, and her casino host always comps her a meal at Oscar's, which means I end up getting a meal at Oscar's.
That's not a bad way to have it.
It's not a bad way to have it, and we absolutely look forward to going there every single time. Again, just one of the most professional wait staffs that you could ever encounter. They are so kind, they are so polite, they are so professional. My drink, I never have to wait for my water to be refilled. I never have to wait for a plate to be cleared away. The moment my cocktail glass is empty, the waiter's right there asking me if I'd like another. The food, as you were saying with the Golden Steer, the steak is always cooked absolutely perfectly. Oscar's is just a fantastic location, guys. And if you're having like a staycation and you're staying, I know a lot of Vegas locals, when they do a staycation, Fremont Street's on the agenda. So if
you actually find a lot of Las Vegas residents and locals on Fremont, the Arts District. Yeah. And those places are relatively popular with locals, and Oscars is right in that area.
Yes, absolutely. So if you're doing a staycation, or if you are coming here from somewhere else, we know that not everybody who watches our videos is a Vegas local. If you are coming here for vacation and you're staying on Fremont, or you find yourself visiting Fremont, I highly recommend checking out Oscars.
Absolutely.
Talk to you about some of the things that I enjoy eating there. First of all, their oysters on the half shell are fantastic. They come out on an ice tray. Always really, really fresh, really, really good. If you like oysters, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that they're nice and briny. They're always very well chilled, which I can't stand it when the oysters aren't really, really cold. They always have theirs set just perfectly. Bring out plenty of condiments to go with them. I always get the ribeye steak when I go there. Their ribeye is absolutely choice. I can tell you that my mom loves their filet mignon. Whenever she comes, she always gets the filet, and she raves about it every single time.
Well, if I didn't have to pay for my meal, I'd probably get filet mignon every time too.
I bet you would. Yeah, same here. So their steaks are always super well done. They have a great wine list. One of the things I really appreciate about them. They also make really, really good cocktails. Their Old Fashioned is one of the best that I've had in the city. So I just can't say enough good things about Oscars. It is a fantastic old school Vegas spot with absolutely phenomenal food, some of the best service you could possibly ask for. The environment is really, really nice. You have a great view of Fremont Street. It's a great location for people watching.
Yes.
They also recently opened an outdoor seating area on the balcony overlooking.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
That's
directly above that new, they have a new outdoor bar
Yeah.
right there in the front of the main entrance.
Yeah.
And so this new outdoor seating area is located above that bar.
Yeah, they kind of redid that entire hotel recently.
They really did overhaul that whole thing, I think, as a part of the ongoing effort to really make Fremont Street a premier location here in Las Vegas. And they're doing a great job. So that's my number 2 choice. Oscar's Steakhouse at the Plaza Hotel down on Fremont Street. Try it out. I promise you won't be disappointed. All right, Justin, what's your number 1 pick?
About 100 yards from your number 1 pick, or your number 2 pick.
I already know where we're going.
At the Circa, one of the newer hotels, actually the new hotel in the Fremont area. This is really a big upgrade to the Fremont Street area, is the Circa Hotel. You might have seen this one. This is the one that has like the 4-story sports book, where it's just screen upon screen upon screen and movie theater seating. They have a pool on the roof.
Stadium Swim.
Stadium Swim, and that is open year round.
Yeah. So Stadium Swim, if you're not aware what that is a giant outdoor pool area on the roof with a wall. And when I say a wall, I mean like hundreds of feet high, covered in giant monitors where you can watch all of the same games that you would be watching inside the sports book.
Yes. And that's really big, especially this time of year where it's still warm outside, and you have football going, baseball going, hockey starting up in a couple of weeks. So it's really a big deal. So the Circa is just a great hotel, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about what's down in the basement at the Circa. And you got Barry's Downtown Prime. And when I say it's in the basement, it's literally in the basement. You go to the bottom floor. You can either do the elevator or the stairs. You go to the bottom floor, and there's just a really beautiful entrance into Barry's Downtown Prime. Now this I would call more of a new Vegas nostalgia. You can see that they were trying to respect what old Vegas was, but bring it into the modern centuries. So it is a beautiful, beautiful restaurant. And the wait staff here, just like Mike was talking about over Oscars, you can tell these are highly trained, highly professional waiters and waitresses. This is not a side gig. This is not something that they're doing to make a couple extra bucks. This is what they're doing because it's their passion and they're trying to make a living doing it. So that's always appreciated. One of the things that I didn't realize about Barry's Downtown Prime, because I fanboy them on Facebook and TikTok. I didn't know this, but their bathrooms and I've used the bathroom there, and it was really nice, but I didn't realize how nice it was, because you always see people taking selfies in the bathrooms at Barry's Downtown Prime, just because they're so
That's weird.
Nice. It is a little weird. But yeah, the bathrooms there are great. This is the only restaurant that I've been to. They have a fantastic bar, but this is the only place I've ever been to where they have roving bartenders. Have you ever had a roving bartender?
I've never had a roving bartender.
So you'll have bartenders just walking around with a big cart full of all the liquors and setups, going to the table.
Okay.
Would you like a drink? and they'll make it their tableside for you. And if they don't have what you asked for, they'll go get it and bring it back.
That's one of the best ideas I've ever heard in my life.
It's amazing. It is amazing. So, you know, the last time I went there, oh gosh, it was actually New Year's Eve several years ago.
Okay.
That was not a cheap meal. I'm gonna say we were in the $400 range. There was just two of us. But, you know, because it was New Year's Eve, we enjoyed a few of those roving cocktail servers, or, you know, or bartenders. I can't even remember all the appetizers that I got. I remember I tried the bone marrow, and I'd never been a big fan of bone marrow.
Bone marrow's good.
I wanted to eat the bone. It was so good.
Bone marrow's good.
It was amazing. I've never really enjoyed it before. I tried it that night, and I fell in love with bone marrow. It was just, it was amazing. And this is one of the few places that I won't get a ribeye.
Okay.
Here they have a 24-ounce New York strip, which people will argue that's maybe not the best cut of meat. But this New York strip is just, it is juicy, it's buttery, it's just delicious.
Nice.
I mean, you could almost use your fork to just cut it. It's just, probably hands down the best steak I've ever had. I've been there a couple times, and I've had the New York strip, I've had the ribeye. The ribeye was amazing, and I love ribeyes. But that New York strip, for whatever reason, stands out to me every time I think about going to Barry's Downtown Prime. The ambiance of the restaurant is fantastic. It is a little bit more dressy. This is not a jeans and t-shirt type of place, which you'll find in Vegas. Even the higher end restaurants and casinos, they know it's a tourist town, they know it's hot in the summer. They expect people to walk in shorts and a t-shirt or jeans and a t-shirt. There's not really a dress code. But when you go to Barry's Downtown, it's definitely something you feel like you want to put on, maybe a nice pair of pants and a button-up shirt. You know, you don't have to wear a full-on suit or anything, but you definitely want to dress a little bit better just because you'll fit in more with the vibe.
Fair enough.
And then they also do a tableside Bananas Foster. I don't know if you're a big Bananas Foster fan.
I love Bananas Foster.
They do a tableside Bananas Foster, which is amazing. I mean, watching them do everything at the table, just make this delicious dessert is hands down one of the best experiences I have. Like with most really great steakhouses, you're going to find they're an a la carte menu. So your sides are going to be separate, your steak is going to be separate.
Every place we listed today is an a la carte menu.
I think so.
Yes.
You know, their sides were good. Nothing really stood out to me because that steak just in the bone marrow. That's really what I can think about. And then of course the Bananas Foster. And then I don't even remember, I tried some different cocktails that night. I'm not a big cocktail drinker at dinner. I did try some different cocktails. I think I tried a Manhattan.
Okay. I love Manhattans.
Which was, I'm not a big Manhattan guy because that's a gin drink, right?
No, it's bourbon.
It's bourbon?
Yep.
Okay. Look at that. So I tried a Manhattan. I thought it was excellent. And then I think I tried, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but that was a gin drink. I'm not a big gin guy.
Okay.
But I did try that drink. And again, I was just like, wow, this is amazing.
Tom Collins?
No.
Oh, that's the most common.
No, it was like a weird name.
Okay.
It was like one of their house drinks. So when you go, I would definitely ask, you know, if you get the roving bartender, ask them, you know, what's the house special on your drinks? You know, what's different or unique? They make some really wild and crazy cocktails. So you might find something that you wouldn't think about ordering, you never knew existed, and try it. You might actually learn to love it. You might find out that that's your new favorite drink. The problem is that you can only get it there.
Just have to go back.
That's how they get you. They fish hook you with these amazing cocktails that makes you want to go back. $400 or $500 later, you're like, that was a good cocktail. So Barry's Downtown Prime for me. I've been trying to get Mike out there for the longest time. Hopefully we'll get out there soon.
We're gonna go. We need a reason to celebrate if we're gonna spend that kind of money.
I think if I can get him to Barry's Downtown Prime, I might change his mind on his favorite steakhouse, which is what, Mike?
My favorite steakhouse is set a couple of personal records for me. Starting with, it is the single most expensive meal I've ever paid for.
Same thing with Barry's for me, absolutely. Yeah. Or at least for two people.
I took Stasha there. I took Stasha there to celebrate a special occasion. Just the two of us, and we had 2 cocktails apiece. We each had a steak. We had 2 sides, and we each had a dessert. With a tip, I was out $5.
Yeah.
So single most expensive meal I've ever paid for. However, it is also, without a doubt, the best steak I've ever had in my life. And I've had steak all over the world, no exaggeration. And I've eaten in some of the finest steakhouses in Tampa, Florida, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, Seattle, Las Vegas. I've eaten in some of the best steakhouses in the country, along with a few internationally. And this was the best steak I've ever had. My pick for the best steakhouse in Las Vegas is Harlow over in downtown Summerlin.
Okay.
They have one of the best menus I've ever seen at a steakhouse. First of all, it is a relatively new restaurant, opened in 2021.
Yeah, it's not that old. Yeah.
It is not that old. It is also not that big. I mean, it's decent size, but it's not a huge restaurant. It is a relatively intimate affair when you go there. I highly recommend a reservation. Much like Justin's pick, this is a place where you're going to want to class it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to put on a pair of slacks and a button-up shirt. You know, you're going to want to present yourself well. I would not show up there dressed as I am right now.
Yeah.
I would probably put on a sport coat to go there, which I did the first time we went there. Again, it was a special occasion. But absolutely amazing food, and Harlow is all about the food. First of all, the ambiance is really great, right? From the entryway, right when you get there, you can tell that you're going into someplace special. There's a lot of thought put into the design of the entire restaurant. But when you go inside, it is fairly dimly lit, but it is a very cool, very classy, upscale, dare I say, bougie vibe in there, which you would expect.
I haven't been inside, but I have seen the entrance when we did the downtown Summerlin video. It is a beautiful and unique entrance.
It is, yes.
That door is amazing.
Right. Yeah, guys, it's a great restaurant. Once you get inside, again, the ambiance is fantastic. Mm-hmm. You get a seat. Again, these are professional wait staff. These are people who serving food in a high-end restaurant is their craft.
Yeah.
And I respect that. And they make a good living.
Yeah, you can definitely make a good living.
They make a darn good living. And they deserve to, because they do a great job at what they do. The food there, off the charts good. The steak that I had the 10-ounce Wagyu ribeye cap.
I saw that on the menu. I've had ribeye cap before, and I love it. You don't see it at a lot of restaurants.
You don't.
And ribeye cap, if you've never had ribeye cap and you like ribeye, try ribeye cap. It is amazing.
Yeah, and then try a Wagyu ribeye cap.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll ruin you.
Yeah.
It'll ruin you for steak.
Yeah.
So I had that. We had a couple of really good cocktails. Mm-hmm. I remember that we got the crispy potatoes as the side.
Okay.
And I could call Stasha over here right now and she will rave about how good those potatoes were 2 years later. Okay. They were absolutely amazing. Guys, this restaurant is just off the charts good in every metric that you can think of. The service is top notch. The ambiance is top notch. The food is absolutely amazing. I believe we did the oysters there as well for an appetizer, and they were absolutely great. Here's the thing. I may not remember every individual aspect of that meal, but I remember the way that I felt.
Gotcha. And
the way that I felt was that I walked out of there knowing that was one of the best meals I've ever had.
Yeah.
When they brought me the, again, $500 bill, I wasn't even mad about it. I was like, yeah, fair enough, guys. Well done. Mm-hmm. Right? Probably won't be back for a year or two, but well done.
I always say, like, when you have a great meal or you go to a great restaurant, that food can be memory.
Yeah.
And thinking back on that, even 10 years from now, you'll think back on that first time that you ate at Harlow. There are several restaurants that I can kind of attach a memory to. And so having an experience like that will definitely be a positive memory going forward for you and for Stasha.
Yeah, and the converse can be true as well.
Oh,
in that I still remember, and I'm not going to call them out here on the channel, but like you and I were talking about it before we started filming. Like, I still remember the opposite of that when I went to a local steakhouse here, and to this day I'm still irritated about the differentiation between the price that I paid and the absolutely like completely subpar quality of the food and service that I received.
Well, and I think they're not really a locals restaurant. Considering its location,
it was on the strip.
Definitely a touristy place.
It was on the strip, and we were doing a staycation, and we were staying at this particular We were staying at this particular property because we were seeing the show that they had there, and I'm not going to say which one because that would give away what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We try to keep it positive here. But we went down to the Strip. We stayed at the hotel so we could see the show. We went to the Steakhouse for dinner, and we were just bitterly disappointed.
And that's something that Mike and I talked about before we did this was, are there any honorable mentions on this list, or any overrated places? What is your honorable mention?
So this is an honorable mention. Now I'm going to caveat this by saying I haven't actually eaten here.
Okay.
So it's an honorable mention by reputation. I did some research into it because I was looking for a new place to try, and it has an overwhelmingly positive reputation on the review sites and on food blogs, and that is Hugo's Cellar.
I've eaten at Hugo's Cellar. Great ambiance. It isn't a cellar.
Yeah.
So you kind of get that vibe. Again, great professional staff. And the food was really good quality. I ate there pre-COVID, so the pricing was probably a lot more affordable than it is now.
Right.
But I did enjoy my experience at Hugo's.
Yeah, so Hugo's Cellar, if I was gonna go try a new steakhouse other than Barry's,
Yeah.
the next steakhouse that I have on my list to try is Hugo's Cellar. And like I said, based on the awards that it's won and the reputation that it has amongst the foodie community, I think it deserves an honorable mention.
Okay. I'm going to bring up one that is completely opposite of everything we've talked about.
Texas Roadhouse?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Obviously,
Nailed it.
Obviously, people love this place because I've always had to wait every time I've gone. If you're looking for a less expensive steak, but still a quality time and quality meal, Texas Roadhouse, you can't go wrong.
Sure.
I mean, as long as you don't fill up on their biscuit or their rolls prior to your steak coming, and you want to keep a dinner for two under $100, there's nothing wrong with Texas Roadhouse.
Listen, man, I got nothing against Texas Roadhouse. I've eaten many a meal.
And we have 3 now in town. They're building a 4th soon. So just keep that in mind if you're looking for something a little bit more on the affordable side. Don't hate on Texas Roadhouse. You go. I know people go because I see this place packed every night of the week. Now, I will throw somebody under the bus, but not because it was terrible. I just think it was a little overrated.
What do you got?
Several years ago, I went to the Steakhouse at Circus. I had been dreaming about going to the Steakhouse at Circus. For years, I had heard about how this was the best steakhouse in town. And I'd always wanted to go. I could never get anybody to go with me. Finally, I got someone to go with me. We went to enjoy this amazing steak. I was pumped. I was excited. The food was good. The service was excellent.
We're gonna get some hate on this video.
Probably. So the food was really good. The service was really good. Pricing was high, and it did not meet my expectations. Maybe it was overbuilt in my head and online. So keep that in mind. Mike and I feel strongly about the suggestions that we gave you today. So if you're looking to spend a couple of dollars on a good steak, and I would steer you towards these other steakhouses and less towards Circus. But if you're like me, it's something you've researched, it's something you've seen online, and you really want to try it. I'm not saying you're going to have a bad meal, but I wouldn't be surprised if you walked out and said, that wasn't as great as I thought it would be, and maybe it wasn't worth that amount of money.
And again, guys, if you are looking to get a high quality steak dinner and you are trying to keep the budget under control, I cannot recommend enough going to Herbs and Rye or Cleaver between 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock.
If you can get 50% off a steak?
50% off the steaks and cheap drinks and drink specials.
There you
So
go.
that is the locals hack. And don't get me wrong, it's still not going to be a cheap meal.
But if you have a couple of really cheap cocktails, it doesn't hurt as bad at the end.
You can save quite a bit of money though.
All right.
So, all right, guys, that is our list for the best steakhouses here off strip in Las Vegas. Comment down below if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, if you have places that we should check out. Maybe we'll put them in a follow-up video. We would love to hear from you guys. And in the meantime, remember, if you need lending help, talk to our friends Steve Schauer and Linda Vo over at Security National Mortgage. They're the best in town. Steve's been doing this for over 20 years. They can help you find out what you're qualified to buy. They can help you figure out what rate you're gonna get it at. And if you're not qualified to buy that dream house just yet, they can give you the roadmap to get there, tell you exactly what you need to do to get your finances set up so you can qualify for that loan so that you can buy that dream house. When you're ready to buy that dream house, Call Justin and myself here at the Moody Olson team. Nobody's gonna work harder for you, we promise you that. We're gonna help you find the right house at the right price, and we're gonna negotiate hard to make sure that you are absolutely taken care of to the best of our ability. If you're looking to sell your house, give us a call as well. Justin and I absolutely love listings. We are gonna take care of your property. We're gonna make sure you have professional marketing. We're gonna make sure you have professional photos. We're gonna make sure that your house is listed everywhere it possibly can be. And we're gonna make sure that you get the absolute top dollar that you can get for that house. Guys, whether you're moving here next week, next month, or next year, call the Moody Olson team. We would love to help you. In the meantime, like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you get notified. We put out 2 videos every single week of the best Las Vegas locals and real estate content that we can bring you. Until next time, guys, I'm Mike.
I'm Justin.
And we're out of here.